Let's actually take that for a moment, because it would make a lot of sense that this was terrorism motivated by what's happening and the lies that are, quite frankly, in my opinion, being told about what's happening. This country, for the past 4 years prior to President Trump, you may remember, was on a war footing, but not against Islamic terrorism, against a phantom known as white supremacy. I can say categorically that this has nothing to do with white supremacy, what we just saw this evening. 6 people killed, including a New York City police officer. But again, the message from the federal, state, and too many local authorities, quite frankly, white supremacy was something we all had to be concerned about. Take a look.
We're confronting the stains of what remains a deep stain on the soul of the nation: hate and white supremacy. And the violent, deadly insurrection on the Capitol 9 months ago, it was about white supremacy.
Terrorism from white supremacy is the most lethal threat to the homeland today. Not ISIS, not Al-Qaeda, white supremacists. Focus on how to deal with the rise of white supremacy. We know now we must confront and defeat political extremism, white supremacy, and domestic terrorism. We've taken steps to acknowledge and address systemic racism and the scourge of white supremacy.
All right, it goes on like this, and we have another where he features the vice president, the Secretary of Homeland Security, going on and on about this #1 threat to American security, white supremacy. I wonder, at a moment like this, did all of those ghost stories about America, did they waste the time? I know they had to have wasted the time of America's law enforcement and the intelligence and you name it, because white supremacy is bad, but it's just not much of a thing. I feel like we were lied to about it. Commissioner, did you copy all that?
Yes, most of it. Yeah, I think we were lied to as well. There was no incidents of white supremacists acting out or doing anything of significant nature in the last couple of years. NYPD investigates that sort of thing as well. So it was not a substantive complaint, and it was put out there for, in my judgment, for political reasons. No, this is the threat of the hour, and it's going to remain like this for a while. It's going to put a lot of pressure on our law enforcement agencies, federal, state, local, because people are going to be raised up now, and we're going to see, I think, the precautions that can be taken are unlimited. The NYPD is losing a lot of police officers. They're leaving the department, and they're having great difficulty in hiring their replacements. It appears that young people, men and women, are not as interested as they were in a career in law enforcement, and it's a shame, because it's a great career, but unfortunately, the recruiting efforts have not borne the fruit that it needs.
Okay, well, stay with us at this point. A little bit more on the shooter, and I'm looking at a picture of his, what appears to be a driver's license photo. Let's go ahead and throw that up when we can, please. Well, just show up the, if you don't mind, the security footage, if you would. Rifle-toting New York City shooter identified as Shane Tamura, who killed 5, including a New York City police officer. He is said to be from Nevada, barged into the 44-story building, which, yes, houses Blackstone and the NFL headquarters, armed with a rifle, firing at about 6:30 p.m. I'm trying to think of the last time we have had a terrorist incident in New York City. Quite frankly, it wasn't that long ago. I remember the bus attack by an Islamic extremist on the West Side Highway. I remember the bombs blowing up on 23rd Street. Again, another Islamic extremist, I believe, from who was living in New Jersey but was from overseas. We don't have definitive word on this at the moment. However, we have seen national politicians on air saying that they have heard about the Free Palestine statement by the shooter. You're more familiar with. Go ahead, sir.
We did have that Uzbeki terrorist about 2 years ago. He drove a truck onto the bike path in lower Manhattan near Battery Park, and he killed 8 people. And I don't know if they all were from Argentina, but I believe the majority of them were. So yeah, they happen, and people just kind of roll with it. They just kind of accept it as this is life now. So they start to forget about all of the incidents that we had.
Do me a favor. I would like to see the picture of the winner of the Democrat primary, a person by the name of Zoran Mamdani, who is currently vacationing in Uganda. When asked what he would do, where he would go on vacation, this is a big deal, quite frankly. The nominee for mayor of New York City, he is the favorite to win. The last thing you're supposed to do once you're about to potentially inherit such a huge responsibility is go on vacation. I'm surprised, not totally surprised. He happens to be in Uganda, which has one of the worst civil rights records in America. In the world. Uganda, Africa, of course. I find that to be incredibly irresponsible. Sir.
Absolutely. You got the mayoral campaigns that I remember going back years and years. This was key campaign time. The hot months of July and August, they were out on the street. They were shaking hands. They were sweating. And it's really bizarre to see this candidate in another country, and apparently for a significant period of time. I think he's out for at least a week. So this campaign is like nothing I've ever seen before, and particularly some of the words of the candidate saying that it's the global jihad, that he's not supporting, he's not saying it anymore, but it looks like he's still supporting the term. So we're going to see if this impacts at all on his electability.
All right. Well, we thank you very much. Commissioner Ray Kelly, longest serving police commissioner, 50 years in law enforcement plus. It happens to be my father, everybody. The information's still coming in. We're trying to decipher it. But we thank you very, very much. All right. To be continued, and say hi to Mom. And we're awfully, awfully sorry about what happened to 5 New Yorkers, including a New York City police officer. Thanks very much.